Yeah, so that was Solo, a Star Wars story. I'm here with Ryan, Chewbacca, and Mike.
That's pretty good.
So remember when we were talking about how, there's going to be a Star Wars movie every year, every 6 months or whatever, and it's going to not be as big a deal every time a Star Wars movie comes out? Yeah, that happened. And we were also talking about, one day there's going to be a Han Solo origin story. It's going to take away all the mystery of Han Solo. Yeah, that happened too. So, I thought it was okay. What did you guys think?
Parts of this movie I thought were fine. I liked it more than Rogue One, mostly because the characters in this weren't planks of wood thrown together. They were people who talked and did stuff together. There's one character that ruins the movie, but mostly I thought it was just average, which is surprising because the movie had two directors who were fired and then replaced with an elderly man director who shot the most of the movie. The whole movie he shot over. So the fact that it flowed together as well as it did is kind of surprising.
Yeah, that's cool trivia because I really didn't know anything about the backstory. Because I feel like we just saw a Star Wars movie last December, and it's just like, okay, I wasn't really ready for this yet, but
this is the most expensive Star Wars movie.
Is it really?
Because they had to reshoot all of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you have seen the original Star Wars trilogy, you know almost every single plot point that happens in this movie. Because literally, it's paint by numbers. It's Han said he took a shit on Tuesday. In this movie, he'll take a shit on Tuesday.
Yeah, totally. It's like they start the movie off, the first thing you see is the dice. And then a few minutes later, you see the invention of the name Chewie.
Yeah.
And where that comes from. And then a few minutes later, the Millennium Falcon. And actually, it really is a lot like Force Awakens. How they did the same like plot points. Like every 5 minutes, you got to bring in I remember that part.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the scar, the chin scar.
I think he already has it.
Does he already have it?
If they did the chin scar, it would have been too close to Indiana Jones 3.
That's what I was thinking. So each of his characters needs to invent with the origin of the scar.
Wait, speaking of Indiana Jones, did you guys notice the idol from Raiders of the Lost Ark?
On the bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed the crystal skull. I noticed the crystal skull, though.
That's not the same crystal.
No.
It is a crystal, but the idol from Raiders is there, and it every single scene I couldn't stop staring at it because I have one that sits on my desk, so I'm so used to seeing it.
The biggest problem I had with it was just that he looked nothing like Harrison Ford. He didn't seem to act like him really either. Like, I just could not buy it. And it goes with everybody. Like, the actor who plays Lando, he doesn't look like Billy D. Williams. Although you could tell he was studying Billy D. Williams' performance and was trying to do, the rhythm and pace of his voice.
Yeah.
But with Han Solo, it seemed like they were kind of like, nobody's ever going to be like Harrison Ford, so maybe they were kind of like, let's not get too close, because then it would be...
I actually prefer when they do that kind of thing. It bothers me when, since Star Wars, I got to go to Star Trek. When Chris Pine's performance, he doesn't try to mimic William Shatner, and I think that really helps.
Yeah.
And I think
but
they
then
did
you
the
have
same
McCoy,
thing.
and O'Neill is doing this spot on.
Who's basically like, you're dead, Jim.
Yeah. I have to say, I felt way more strongly about it in Star Trek. I was like, I hate this. I don't like. In this movie, I was like, oh, it's a Star Wars movie, because I think it's less serious to me. It's way more
because you're more into Star Trek.
I guess.
I think the previous examples, in the however you feel about the prequel trilogy, I felt like the casting was really close to what you would think. Ewan McGregor?
Ewan McGregor, yeah.
Ewan McGregor, he was spot on, Alec Guinness, younger. And, maybe it's a lot harder to do with Harrison Ford because it's not there's not as much of an age gap, I know, and also, however you feel about Hayden Christensen's performance, he's had the look where you could totally buy, this is Luke Skywalker's father. And, I feel like with these movies, they had a good track record with casting younger versions of the characters. So when we got to this, I was like, I thought they could do a better job with making me at least just feel like it's a younger Han Solo, but I just didn't buy it.
I will say, I prefer this to digital de-aging, like the Carrie Fisher face in Rogue One, we're not there yet with that technology. So I'm more willing to just be like, hey, this is the guy, he's playing Han Solo. He doesn't look like him, but this is Han Solo.
That kind of works in a cameo, but that would be hard to do for a whole movie as the main character.
Yeah.
I feel like Harrison Ford sells the scoundrel who finds grudging redemption so much better than the actor, I don't even know his name, does in this movie. He looks like, they sell that he's a hero, he's heroic, he's good-natured, he's good-hearted. They constantly sell that in every scene in the movie. With Han Solo, you don't know he's coming back to save Luke, and you know, it's like, no, he wants his money, he wants to pay back Jabba, he wants to do this. You know, he's shooting Greedo. He's a scoundrel. He's a smuggler who finds the goodness in his heart through 3 movies. Whereas in this one, it's like, oh, he's giving the coaxium to the rebels. He's be a good guy. I don't like that.
Until now, Han's been pretty much free of all the prequel stuff. Like, he's not in any of the TV shows. He wasn't in any of the movies. They were going to put him in Revenge of the Sith, and they decided against it. So, like, that was, like, the one character we had that only existed in, like, now 2 trilogies.
Yeah.
But it was like, he was the only one who wasn't tainted. It's like, oh, well, now we got a prequel with Han Solo, and it's all the stuff we don't care about.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff we already know. Kessel Run. All right, we already know that. We already know he did that. But I will say it's entertaining. Ron Howard knows how to direct. Apparently the other guys didn't. That sucks for them. But, like, he knows how to put a scene together and make it, you know, just fun and exciting, even though there's no suspense to any scene.
I think if you're going to see this movie, you kind of know what you're getting into. Like, it's fan service and it's fan fiction, and it's like, you know, if that's what I go into expecting it, then okay, it was entertaining for like a popcorn fan fiction type of thing. Personally, there's never been a Star Wars movie since Return of the Jedi, a real one. I can't buy any of these.
I think it's funny that they, you know, wasted so much time, like, linking it back to television properties that were going on, and my kids who have seen every episode of Rebels made zero connection to the 2 movies. Like, to them, everything that happened in this movie is entirely separate from Rebels, yet there is this strong connection.
It feels like a Rebels plot. And by the way, Rebels is the best thing Disney's done with Star Wars.
Oh, yeah?
Better than all the new movies and everything. Like, that show is, like, great.
Especially the season finale.
Yeah.
I have to check that out.
Yeah, it's actually really good. There's some episodes that actually feel like Star Trek. Like, I'm not even lying. My biggest issue with this movie, and I think it's everyone's issue, at least online, is L337, the robot. I don't like what they did with Lando in this movie, because he has this droid who wants to, like, liberate other droids and stuff, and then he mentions that mining colonies are terrible. And then by the time you get to Empire, he runs a mining colony. He doesn't give a shit about droids. He ignores C-3PO. He has a room full of dead droids being thrown in an incinerator. So, like, they try to show him have this, like, he, like, learns this lesson from her. He, like, loves this droid. And then it's clear that he doesn't learn anything from her. He just looks like the biggest hypocrite in the galaxy now. That really made me mad.
So it's more like a consistency issue.
Yeah.
Not with the droid itself. Like, I thought the droid looked cool.
Yeah. It's a good effect. I mean, she was annoying. But it's more like what it does to Lando. It's like, wow, Lando, you're just an asshole now. Like, before we thought he was an asshole because, you know, he was saving his life from the Empire. But now he just seems like an outright dick. And I don't agree with that at all.
If this didn't come out, if a Star Wars movie didn't come out this weekend or this past weekend or whatever, there would be some other generic space shooter anyway, so I'm just fine with it. I'm like, okay, they might as well make another Star Wars, because, like, you know, Star Trek has always been a franchise that has had, you know, many series and many movies, and it kind of just keeps on going. Star Wars, I think we just got so used to the fact that it was so infrequent, it just became more of like a very special event, and I feel like now it's like, okay, it doesn't ruin anything. It's just that it's now like every other franchise.
I really think they should have pushed this to December.
Yeah.
Because Last Jedi, I mean, I liked most of that movie, but that movie was real divisive with fans. A lot of fans hated that movie, and they still haven't, like, washed the taste out of their
And
mouth
I
yet.
even, like, I watched it a second time on Blu-ray since it came out, and now I see a lot more gripes with it, because now the second time I watched it, I'm like, oh, gee. This wasn't really that good at all.
People are wondering, like, why this isn't doing well. The movie's not doing well. For a Star Wars movie, it's not doing well, It's, like, underperforming, and it's still going to make a ton of money, but it's underperforming. And I think it's just because, like, a lot of people, like, were uneasy with Last Jedi.
I feel like I just saw Last Jedi.
Exactly. I feel like, because with
Less
Rogue
than
One,
a year.
Rogue One was 5
months.
years between Force Awakens, so people are like, all right.
When did Last Jedi? Was it
It was December. They were every December, and then
It's ridiculous.
Well, they used to be Star Wars movies used to be in May.
Yeah.
Back in
I think they wanted, because this is like one of the anniversaries or something, they wanted to reach that, but I
May
think
the
they should.
fourth be with you.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't even on the
Yeah, well,
I think they should have waited till December.
So
So
yeah.
they spent so much money on it.
So this is the 10th Star Wars movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Think
think
about
about
that.
the Clone Wars movie?
Well, no, because there's the 6 original.
Oh, right.
There's Rogue One. There's this, and the 2 in the 3rd trilogy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
what about the holiday special?
Oh, what about droids?
Can I talk about the holiday special for a second?
Sure.
when they were like, Chewie, what are you going to do when you get your money? And they said he wants to go back to his family. And I'm just like, is he going to visit his kid and his wife? Because, like, if you watch the holiday special and all the other Star Wars, Chewie's the biggest deadbeat dad in the world.
So, by the way, so is that his family?
I guess it's just other Wookiees, like in his tribe or whatnot. But I'm just like, are we going to see Lumpy and Mala and Itchy?
And I'm asking you because you seem like you would know.
I do know a lot about Chewbacca. I would say Chewbacca's the best cast in the movie.
He was, yeah.
Much you have to do that.
What is the big fucking deal about this Kessel Run? Why does it have to come up in like every movie they make? And I think it is. It was from the Christopher Walken, the SNL thing when he's like auditioning as Han Solo.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever heard anybody talk about that Kessel Run.
She's
line.
fast enough for you, old man.
And that was like everything.
The question is, why the hell would anybody want to go to Castle? It's a freaking hole in the ground. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like.
I mean, it does look as shitty as you would imagine. Like,
Right.
They've always talked about it being a shithole, so I was like, all right, well, they nailed that.
I guess the spice must flow.
Yeah.
It's the wrong franchise.
It's a different franchise. So wait, Ryan, do you want to explain parsecs to people?
Okay, so
What about quadrants?
so